All right, let's jump right in. We're going to explore a really powerful idea today. What if the real key to building a successful business isn't about funding or your 5-year strategy, but something much closer to home? What if it's all about character? We're diving into a source that makes a bold claim. Your most valuable asset is you.
So that really brings us to this big question. We're all taught to focus on the usual stuff, right? Funding, market analysis, all the spreadsheets. But what if that's all secondary? What if we're missing something way more fundamental?
And here's the core idea. Put as simply as it gets. Business isn't just about money. At its heart, it's about people. It's about the kind of decisions you make, and when you get right down to it, it's about your own personal growth. This is the foundation for everything we're going to talk about.
Okay, so if business really is about people, then that whole journey has to start from the inside out. And that's our first big topic, the inner foundation. It's a simple but powerful concept. Before you can even think about building a company out there in the world, you first have to build your own internal framework.
Now, a huge piece of that foundation is patience. But look at how it's defined here. It's not just about waiting around, twiddling your thumbs. It's an active discipline. The idea is that every single mistake, every delay, that's not a setback. That's your training. It's not about being the quickest to the finish line. It's about having the grit to endure the race.
And then there's this one. Man, this feels more true today than ever, doesn't it? Avoiding that comparison trap. Comparison steals focus. It's so simple but so true. The second you start looking over your shoulder, measuring your chapter 1 against someone else's chapter 20, you've lost the plot. The only person you should be competing with is the person you were yesterday.
This inner strength is also built on being a lifelong learner. The best leaders out there, they listen way more than they talk. They ask questions before they jump into action. In a world that's changing this fast, thinking you've got all the answers, that's a recipe for disaster. Curiosity isn't just a nice-to-have trait. It's a massive strategic advantage.
And really, all of this, it all boils down to one simple, powerful truth. Your character is your strongest marketing. Think about it. You can have the best product in the world, but if the person or the company behind it is built on a shaky foundation, it's just not going to last. How you treat people, your customers, your team, even your rivals, that is your real brand.
Okay, so we've got this inner foundation, but how does that actually play out in the real world? That's what we're looking at next, your strategic choices. This is all about how you turn that inner character into actual, tangible action. And this really gets to the heart of it. Let's compare two huge assets in business, trust and capital. The whole point here is that trust is by far the more valuable one. Look at this breakdown. You can always go out and raise more capital, right? But trust, you have to earn that inch by inch. When people trust you, opportunities come to you. When they don't, you're just constantly, desperately trying to sell. Here's another huge strategic move. Learning to say no. It's so easy in business to get pulled in a million directions by every shiny new opportunity that pops up. But real success isn't about piling on more stuff. It's about focusing on what truly matters. And honestly, saying no to a bad deal is often way more powerful than saying yes to a good one.
And that focus on what matters leads us right here. Serve before you earn. Because let's be real, if you're just in it for a quick buck, people can smell that a mile away. But when your main goal is to actually serve people, to solve a real problem for them, well, the profit tends to follow naturally. A real purpose, that's the bedrock of a business that lasts.
I love this because it totally reframes how we should think about failure. Look at this sequence. It's not a dead end, it's a cycle. It all starts with an idea, and almost every idea leads to a mistake, right? But the mistake isn't the end of the story. It's where the lesson comes from, and that lesson forces you to make an adjustment, and that adjustment, that's where the breakthrough happens. See? Failure isn't the opposite of success. It's the engine that powers it.
And this quote just nails it. Falling down isn't a failure. The real failure is deciding not to get back up. It's refusing to learn the lesson and try again.
So, we've built that inner foundation. We're making strategic choices based on character. What does that all lead to? Well, that brings us to the final piece of the puzzle, building your legacy. This is where we zoom out from the daily grind and really think about the long-term impact of what we're doing.
And that brings up this crucial difference between meaning and money. Just look at this comparison. Sure, money can buy you comfort, absolutely, but meaning, that buys you contentment, which is a totally different thing. Money builds you an income, meaning builds you a legacy.
When what you do is all about helping or inspiring others, you're creating something that's going to outlast any paycheck.
And this leads to a really powerful final thought. Success isn't some finish line you cross. It's a responsibility. It's about reaching a certain point and then turning around to help those who are coming up behind you. At the end of the day, true success isn't measured by what you have. It's measured by what you give.
So let's wrap all this up into something you can actually use. Think of this as your character-driven toolkit. It's simple, really. Be patient with the whole process. Guard your reputation like it's your most valuable asset. Choose your battles and your opportunities wisely. Focus on creating value, not just chasing greed. Learn from every single stumble. And above all else, lead with integrity.
So, after all that, what's the one big takeaway? It's this. The journey of building a great company, it's the exact same journey as building your own character. You're not just building a business, you're building yourself.
So I'll just leave you with this final thought, a question that really gets to the core of everything we've talked about. If you make it your mission to grow your character, does your business really have any other choice but to follow? Something to think about. Thanks for tuning in.